to handle things, that's when you lose. And then like 5 days later, he's like, I would actually beat the shit out of anyone that says negative things about me. I would literally beat them up in the fucking streets.
I've noticed a recurring theme with like MMA fighters, mostly the amateur ones, I guess, not the big ones, because they probably have publicists, but a lot of MMA fighters are so like, I guess, roided up on shit that they are so aggressive outside of the ring.
This is
so many assaults and fights.
This is a question I wanted to ask, maybe Charlie, because you would know the most. Are there any MMA fighters who are just like really nice? Like they're always like, oh, I can't wait for my fight. Oh, it's gonna be great. Haha.
I don't know many MMA fighters. Full disclosure, I don't know many of them. But I can say with a high level of confidence, almost every WWE wrestler is the nicest fucking person on the planet. They are so sweet.
So
they're like entertainers more. So yeah,
right? WWE,
it's not even comparable. But I'm just talking about as far as like roided out or like highly fitness regiment and combat oriented, because regardless of the WWE being scripted and everything, they're still athletes. They're still going out there to perform, and the stunts are pretty tough and demanding.
Yeah. Very physical stuff.
I've known that truth for a while, where wrestlers, you know, they're putting on personalities and putting on a show, but most of the time, you know, they're just great entertainers and friendly people. But what I've seen with nearly every MMA fighter is every way that they talk and everything that they hype up is, oh, I'm so fucking tough. I'm such a badass. I'll kick your fucking ass. I'm the strongest in the world. I'm gonna fuck you in the ass live on camera.
A lot of it's just theatrics, though. A lot of that's just to hype up ticket sales.
And I'm wondering if there's an FC fighter who is going against the grain, and like to say he has a big match, he's like super excited to go to the ring with this guy. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Can't wait.
There was a guy, I don't remember who it was, but a few years ago, there was a guy at one of their weigh-ins when they're doing like the tough guy posing. He just kissed the other guy in the mouth.
Oh, yeah. And at one point, he brought him flowers. I remember that guy.
Yeah, that guy was cool.
Yeah, he did a whole montage where like he would put his arm around them and take a selfie. He would like give him a hug. Yeah.
There is a rather wholesome champion right now. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's a huge weeb. So he tries to emulate Rock Lee from Naruto.
That's awesome.
So he'll do like Rock Lee poses and shit in the fight and like before the fight and always relate it back to like anime. I can't remember his name, but he seems like a pretty wholesome guy.
You just reminded me of
is he big?
Is it Israel Adesanya Rock Lee?
Yep, Adesanya.
What came up.
That's cool.
Yeah, Adesanya.
You just reminded me, Charlie, back when I lived in South Florida and I went to a local gym, there was a guy there who was like I think he was a high school weight training coach, but he also was a personal trainer, and he would lift there like 5-6 days a week. So I saw him a lot, and he was a huge weeb. He would wear Dragon Ball Z shirts and shit, but he would be doing squats or deadlifts and just put his phone up, and he'd just be watching episodes of like Hunter x Hunter or Dragon Ball Z while powerlifting. It was fucking awesome.
That's pretty
good. It's like,
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because you would expect people who spend a lot of time in the gym and just to get their aggression out, you know, and be more calm. Because
I was gonna say a lot of these people are like built on a history of violence. It seems like it's their whole life, and they abuse so many like substances and stuff that it fucks with their brain. You guys have heard of War Machine, right?
I was just about to bring up War Machine. Yeah, he's
I've
the
heard
guy
the
who beat
name.
the fuck out of that girl.
His ex-girlfriend, and he raped her too.
Oh, weren't they
that
both
guy,
famous? And they lived in that like really giant house, and then he just fucking destroyed her and left.
So no, they were broken up at the time, and she had found a new guy. And then he burst into the room while they were like mid.
Oh yeah, he was the guy. He was on that MMA show, that television show, right?
Yeah. He was the Ultimate Fighter. I think.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing on that. I remember that.
Yeah. And so a lot of the videos around those years from his social media are just so deranged, and like he just looks so fucked up mentally. Well, obviously he has to be, but he's just so outwardly fucked up. Like he was threatening, what was it, like a convenience store clerk because they didn't have his slushy flavor. Yeah, like he was threatening to beat the fuck out of the guy at the convenience store because they didn't have his slushy slush drink flavor.
He would fucking he'd go to a 7-Eleven, he'd go in, he'd do all his shit, and then he'd go in the car, and right when he got in the car, he'd turn his phone on and just as close to it as he could get, he'd go, "They don't have it. I'm fucking so pissed. Oh, I get like this and I get like this," and he would just scream as loud as he could for like an hour. It was
slushy.
terrifying. It's fucking terrifying
Yes.
shit. If you out there listening don't know of this guy and want to know how heinous he was, he went to jail for doing this thing that we talked about on March 2017. He was convicted of 29 counts of rape and assault from that one incident.
Fuck.
29 fucking counts. Like,
Yeah.
fuck me. That's a lot.
JCS, you know, the channel that does yeah, they blew up a while ago. They did a good video on him.
They did
showing,
a fantastic video. Yeah.
the events and then the court proceedings and stuff, and it was heartbreaking hearing from her, like her and her mother, just the effect that this man had. He doesn't deserve to be a free man.
No.
Is he out of jail?
No, he's
30 years, I think.
life in prison and no parole for 36 years.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So he's going to be in
nice.
there a while at the minimum.
That's good.
But yeah, just an absolute lunatic, and that's like it's not even. I mean, that's a really bad case, obviously, but I've heard of so many just general assault cases from MMA fighters just outside of the ring.
So
Like they'll go get like
think to
drunk or
be-
whatever, and then just beat the fuck out of someone random.
I think that's probably because if you're a person who's already likely to be hyper aggressive, then you're more likely to go into that profession, maybe. It's like self-selection almost, perhaps.
It happens with wrestlers too. Like a lot of them are nice. It's a much better scale on terms of being personal and all that. But some of those wrestlers, if they turn to steroids or they have anger issues or troubled childhoods, they behind closed doors, they'll beat their wives or they'll just be really aggressive. They'll be alcoholics and just be reckless. It's a lifestyle that comes with a lot that you have to manage. Being that strong and aggressive all the time, it can lead to some shit if you don't manage it, you know? Sad.
Well, I don't think anyone is. I guess people can be naturally that aggressive, but I really think that these particular cases are like a cocktail of substance abuse and those preconditions.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's also the work that doesn't help. Chris Benoit is a very, classic case of this. So you guys know what happened with Chris Benoit, that whole story?
No.
His name
so-
sounds familiar.
So Chris Benoit was a wrestler, very, very big wrestler in the 2000s. And one day he killed his wife and their son and then himself. And a lot of people had a lot of speculations on what happened, but they're thinking with more recent research into, what is it, CTE, that constant, CTE and all the concussions he sustained from wrestling and all the injuries, he just had fucking mental damage from it. And his friend Eddie Guerrero died a few years before that, and they think that the combination of him having to deal with that guilt, along with his brain just being fucked up from constant head trauma, led him to eventually kind of go insane and kill his family and himself. And it's a hard lifestyle. You got a lot of shit you got to keep in check.
CTE is a fucking scary thing, man.
Yeah.
Happens from contact sports too, right? Like
Yeah,
NFL.
football.
Oh, it's
Football
huge
has a
in the NFL,
huge
yeah.
problem with it. Yep. There's a lot of scandals coming out now about how they want all these new regulations and all these new rules to prevent CTE and other shit. And football's like, well, that would change the game. Don't do that. It wouldn't be football. It's fucked.
It is.
I don't even know how you prevent that though when you're colliding at top running speed with each
You
other.
don't really
head on.
prevent it. You just monitor it. Like just being aware of it. Like there are certain things you can do. Like I know, like I think one of the bigger ones that kind of helps is CBD. From what I understand, CBD is supposed to be like good for that kind of like I don't know managing CTE
That's
symptoms
what
or some shit.
That's what who's the quarterback of the Buccaneers?
Tom Brady.
Yeah, doesn't Tom Brady take CBD regularly?
I think Tom Brady's a big CBD guy. I know
Yeah.
Gronk is.
In between kisses.
Yeah, Gronk. Gronk has like his own
Yeah,
CBD like line.
He puts the CBD on his son's lips and just kisses it off.
Oh, do you think the CTE is making him kiss his son so much?
I don't think Brady has CTE, man. He's always had a pretty good offensive line. He doesn't get hit that much.
Didn't he finally
True,
retire?
and he's pretty smart.
Yeah, he retired.
No.
He'll be
Good.
back. once he
Really?
misses the human contact.
The
The warm
CTE.
embrace of another big football man. Yeah.
I haven't gotten concussed in a week, Doc. I
I
crave
kind
it.
of miss it.
He just goes and pays people to beat him up with a wooden bat just to get his fix.
Just to feel it again.
Dude, it's fucking scary. Like, I'm all for people doing martial arts and shit, because I think it's probably healthy, especially for little boys to just get their natural aggression out. But it's the shit that can happen is so scary. What was the name of that guy who literally got himself beaten into a vegetable? That was like a boxing match, and his opponent kept
Stephen Hawking.
No, there was a professional like boxer who got, I think they call it bunny punching or rabbit punching, and his opponent kept punching him in the back of the head, which you're not allowed to do, but he kept doing it. And the guy
What are
literally
they
just
gonna
became
do?
disabled.
What's gonna stop him? He's clearly like punching someone in the back of the head. You can't stop that. I guess you could find him after the match, right?
Or that
the
he kept
ref-
doing it is what Kai is saying.
Yeah, the ref kept intervening sometimes, but also kept just letting him do it. The ref basically was just like, okay, cut it out, no punching in the back of the head. And the guy literally just ended up an actual vegetable. He now has the IQ of a 4-year-old, I think, and he's like permanently a quadriplegic. When he was a
He's
completely
beaten
normal
back to
guy.
the 3rd grade.
It's fucked up, yeah.
Wow.
And that's all it takes is to run into a fucking douchebag psycho who's just gonna ignore the rules and punch you in the head from the wrong angle.
It's
Card-
dangerous
Cole-
fucking
Pritchard
sports,
Cole,
man.
someone says. Yeah, that's him.
Every contact sport, it's just dangerous shit. It only takes someone doing something improperly to fuck you up real bad. You know?
Doesn't seem like
Yeah.
a very fun time to me.
No.
You know what is sad though? That like I was thinking about Tom Brady's retirement and stuff. It's gonna suck being really good at something and having a natural like age limit on it of only like I don't know 15 years. How old are they when they retire?
They're usually in
can't
their
go
early
too long.
40s. Early 40s is normal
Oh,
for a
that's-
back position, and then other positions
Okay.
is
Yeah.
like mid 30s, early 30s sometimes.
I know the NRL, which is like the contact sport over here, different sport but similar kind of. You know, they throw each other into each other's bodies. They retire around like 35 because it's just so strenuous and they can't keep up with it.
I
So
mean,
to be
rugby.
that good at it and have to retire at 35. Yeah, NRL is rugby.
Yeah, National Rugby League. I mean, rugby beyond actual fighting like MMA, wouldn't rugby be like the most contact sport there is?
Yeah, it's more than NFL, I think, because we
For
don't
sure.
have the body armor or anything. You're just
Yeah.
colliding with each other, just full contact.
If I remember correctly, they did something comparing rugby to the NFL, and the NFL is significantly more dangerous than rugby because
Really?
all of the padding and all of the helmets and stuff. It leads to people being more confident in like a full speed hit and more
yeah,
dangerous things. You go.
that's the
I don't know.
Yeah, isn't that the same research that was done on boxers where they
Boxing,
found
yep.
boxing gloves
You hit
actually boxing gloves actually increase the number of concussions because boxers hit a lot harder because it's less cushioning for your head and more cushioning their fists so they can just keep
Exactly.
punching. Yeah.
I mean that I guess that makes sense, but from a pure standpoint of watching rugby league and playing it in the past, I feel like they don't hold back. Like some of these hits are fucking massive. And before it was made illegal, like 5 years ago, you could do like pretty dangerous moves like lifting them up and slamming them on their heads and shit like that.
True, I do remember that.
Sounds,
Yeah.
It sounds to me like the safest way we do sports is go back to the way ancient Greece did it and just every sport is naked. Pure nudity. Then we'll be really safe because no one
I
wants
feel
to
like you
hurt
have
their
a different
penis.
motive.
Yeah, no one wants to hurt their dick and balls, so you're a little careful while you play. You know, you don't hit as hard.
Unironically, the safest thing for all of our sports would be no padding. I think, like, if you took the NFL and took the pads off, I think there would be less injuries overall, which is so fucking counterintuitive.
It is, yeah.
Because you'd of course have to change a few of the rules. Like you couldn't really do punt returns anymore because going full speed without pads like that is a death sentence. But
The
like,
game would
I
change
don't-
for sure.
Yeah.
Would we make it more dangerous then if we wrap them all in bubble wrap?
Oh, what if we did like giant Zorb balls?
Yeah, or the big sumo
Yeah.
suits. Play football like that.
That would be
Yeah.
awesome, actually. I want to see
Fuck yeah.
sumo football. Just Takeshi's Castle type shit. We do need new sports.
They should let each player carry a weapon, just one weapon. They get to choose one weapon, like, you know, the gladiatorial arenas back in ancient Roman times, where they'd have the board of weapons and you choose one to take into the arena.
I still think, I think we need a blood sport. I think we need a thing. You sign like 50 waivers saying, yes, it's okay if I die. Yes, I'm fine with like this and this and this, blah, blah, blah. And you just put two dudes in an arena. They can bring a weapon and they just fight to the death, or just like they can kill each other. They don't have to. But like, I think we need that. I think there's some people who would absolutely be into that.
I think that just all you want is sounds like a life feat to a prison yard.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just make life sentence prisoners do that, and then all the proceeds from people watching that, give it to like charity or
Isn't
something.
that the plot of isn't there an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that does that? What am I thinking
of Speed Racer?
Or no, I don't remember Arnold in that. No.
With Jason
Speed
Statham.
Racer, yeah.
I think it's Running Man.
Death Race.
Oh, Running Man.
Maybe.
I actually do remember Running Man. I don't know if that's the plot, though, but I do remember Running Man.
Yeah, Running Man is death row inmates are put on a game show called The Running Man, and they win the game show and they go free, or if they lose, they die. And Arnold's one of the... Yeah,
I forgot about this movie.
Yeah, The Running Man.
Slapped.
Yeah, it was a good movie. It was cool. It was fun. There was the guy who like ran the game and he used like ice powers, I think.
And
you remember that?
They had like the really goofy suits, and that one guy had a bunch of like Christmas lights on him. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, I want to rewatch this movie. It was cool.
This is probably what rich and powerful people already do. They probably already have these little arenas set up.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt it.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt that like somewhere beneath Epstein Islands, there's like a slave coliseum where they just make people fight or something.
Or just homeless people, you know?
Oh yeah, that used to be a thing, just bum fights, yeah.
Bum fights, yeah. That is true. I mean, there's probably underground fight clubs and fight rings. We just don't know about them, but they've probably been there for a long time.
Yeah, illegal ones. They definitely are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't necessarily want like people to die. Something with massive appeal that would be wholesome. I would be into that. Like I said, like Takeshi's Castle type thing, where
yeah, that's
they
goofy,
get to pick their.
And there's
they
no
get
death.
to pick their weapons at the beginning, but they're all like, you know, the goofy, oversized Q-tips and like an axe.
Yeah, like
but
Nerf guns
cushioned.
and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I like that.
And we can use like these
fingers or something.
power-ups like Rocket League, where if you hit someone with a Nerf gun, then they have, for the next round, they have to wear ankle weights and weigh themselves down.
Dude, that reminds me of a show that I wish they brought it back and monetized. Do you guys remember Chase? It was a cool game show where the whole point was like they were role playing like, I'm going to put you in my video game. And the whole point is they would run around giant locations like Universal Studios or like the American Mall, like really big real world locations. But they would be chased by agents, people dressed up like Agent Smith from the Matrix. But the way that you'd fight them is you could find like guns and like power ups throughout the fucking map. And like, so you'd find like a stun gun and the agent would be chasing you and they were only allowed to like quickly walk like an agent from the Matrix. And like, if you fired the stun gun at them, they would just fucking freeze in place. It was really cool. It was a lot of fun. I wish they brought it back. It was a fun little game.
I wish adults were allowed to play more games like that. Like we could just go somewhere and play a game.
I've always wanted to do like a big mall full of like adult shit, not like pornographic. I just mean like fun activities for adults is just like a cool hangout spot to do just a bunch of shit.
We should rent out a whole mall and have competitive hide and seek.